Hey everybody! So today we're going to enjoy a poem by one of my all-time favorite poets, Langston Hughes. So this month we've learned about some really cool poets, artists, writers, and singers. And today I want to introduce another poet named Langston Hughes. So Langston Hughes was alive from 1902 to 1967. So for some context, his grandparents were enslaved people. His parents fought against slavery and fought to abolish, which means to end slavery. So his family was really active politically, and they really taught him that it's important to be proud of who you are, and in his case, that it's important to be proud of being Black and to not be ashamed of that. And that was a pretty radical viewpoint at that time because Black people were being denied their rights and being so severely, what's the word I'm looking for in English? Being so severely persecuted by the white people who were in power at that time. So while Langston Hughes was alive, he was part of something called the Harlem Renaissance, which is this really amazing magical time in New York City in a neighborhood called Harlem that was just full of like creativity, innovation, all different kinds of arts were just exploding. So like jazz music, sculpture, poetry, you name it, it was happening in Harlem at this time. So he was part of the society of really just like brilliant visionary people. And at the same time, something that him and all of his circle, so all of his artist and writer friends who were Black were having to deal with was segregation. So for those of you who don't know too much about US history, after slavery ended, there were still a lot of laws that didn't let white people and Black people have the same opportunities. So Black people had to go to different schools that were usually worse schools. They couldn't even share the same water fountain with white people. So even though in the Harlem Renaissance, these people were amazing and creative and total geniuses, every time they stepped out in society around white people, they were treated with disrespect. And not just disrespect, but they were denied opportunities to like get certain jobs, go certain places, have different types of power. So now that you know a little bit about his history, I want to give you a choice today of reading two different poems. So I'm going to put them both on Seesaw. The first one's called Mother to Son. The second one's called I Too. And it's going to kind of be a choose your own adventure. You can either illustrate one of the poems, you can read a poem aloud, or you can write your own poem that's inspired by these poems. And just a reminder, if you read it aloud, read it with some expression, right? Put some emotion in your voice, slow it down, pronounce the words clearly, really do your best reading. If you write your own poem, make sure you proofread. If you illustrate a poem, take your time and do your best, because I would love to share some of these things at our African American Heritage Assembly at the end of the month. So you can choose one of these three options and one of these two poems to inspire you. You ready? Let's get started.